parts of sub-Saharan Africa where commerce meets progress. Welcome to SOUQ News, your source for business, economy, and development insight that drive nations forward. From the vibrant streets of Lagos, Africa's fastest economic hub, SOUQ News takes you on a journey of discovery, analyzing and reporting the facts that lay the foundation for growth and development. We don't just report the news, we create it. SOUQ News is more than a channel. It is a catalyst for change, spotlighting the stories that shape economies, inspire entrepreneurs, and fuel progress. Covering business, finance, technology, energy, and many more, SOUQ News provides a daily deep dive into the stories that matter, interviews with industry titans, and analysis that empowers your understanding of economic landscape. Join us daily as we dissect, discuss, and deliver the most relevant and factual news on business and the economy. SOUQ News is your trusted guide, empowering you with the knowledge to make informed decisions. The Three Wise Men. Iconic sculptures and statues adorn major metropolitan cities of the world. In Lagos, Nigeria, the statue of three men designed to depict the state's cultural heritage and to usher in visitors and tourists into the ever-accommodating center of excellence is no doubt an astounding work of art. Originally built under the administration of Colonel Raji Rasaki, designed by Bodu Shodende in 1991 and standing over 12 feet high, referred to as Agba Meta or Aro Meta, the three sculptured chiefs were placed along the Lagos-Ibadan toll gate to welcome people coming into Lagos State. The statue called the Three Wise Men by many has become a major signature for the state. Three white-capped chiefs clad in white wrappers, knotted across their shoulders and with clenched right fists are shown in the artwork. The images fascinate and create impressions in the minds of visitors coming into the state, captivating the attention of visitors who look with keen interest, pondering on the messages which the posture of the engraved images signifies. The Three Wise Men has been relocated thrice from its original position at Ojodu Berger end of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to Magodo area before its final relocation to its present site at Olowopopo Drive. The sculpture has suffered severe damages over the years and renovated. Bodu Shodende, through this sculpture, depicted the highest honor that can be afforded to anyone in the Eko greeting tradition. The Three Wise Men, Arometa, SOUQ Enlightenment.
Hello and welcome to SOUQ Pulse. First, we want to sincerely apologize for starting a bit late. We needed to iron out some things, several things within the office, and that done, we are back to business. My name is Chuks, John Rogers Chuks, and it's SOUQ Pulse. You know, we tell you straight up, never keep quiet. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as that economy in your country, in my country, or your neighbors, those borders that are crossing you, as long as those economies are doing well or not doing well, say something. Let's talk. If it's what they are doing well that is making your country prosper, let others get to know. They can emulate. If it's something that is going wrong, let others also get to know so that they don't fall in that same kind of trap. Burden caused by loans or loans that are making poverty disappear. Talk about it. It could also be Asia or the West that is doing some good policies and their economies are flying, like joining this particular race and making it easy for their people. Then how can Africa emulate? Let's talk. It's SOUQ Pulse. Today we will be looking at something that stirs the heart, something that stirs the mind, things that you want to see, but things that you might not be able to explain. So we'll talk about it. What are we looking at? We're looking at mega projects. It could be those that were done. Some time ago, we talked about the Lekki Deep Sea Port. Beautiful, done, working. Others are trying to copy. Now we are looking at proposed projects that have started in Africa. We are taking a leave from what is happening in Nigeria right now. There is this particular 700 kilometers mega highway from Lagos all the way to Calabar. This is a coastal road. From the proposal, it's 5 lanes on both sides and a train track in the middle. So this is a mega project, something that will definitely get into the annals of world records. Now we are going to look at this project and dissect it and tell ourselves some good truth. How positive, how negative, how can we fly through and make sure it is prosperous and meet the particular needs for which this particular project is coming into. To start this discussion for today, I'm privileged to be the first person to bring him back on television. He just came back to Nigeria, all the way from Rwanda. Please join me as I welcome Dr. Idahosa. Sir, you're welcome back.
It's nice to be on SOUQ PULSE this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
SOUQ
so
TV to be
much.
precise.
SOUQ PULSE.
Yes. It's nice seeing you too. It's been 10 good days of absence.
Oh my God, I didn't know you were
you.
counting.
Yes, we were counting all the way. You're welcome, sir.
My pleasure here
Thank
to
you.
see, measure the health or the illness of projects and events around the world.
Okay, thank you. For those that might not know, he is not just an analyst, he is a trainer, and he's gone outside to that far country to train people that will better the lot of Africans. And we, on that side, we also say thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Okay. Now, let's head straight into this discourse for today. We've seen mega projects across Africa. We've seen dam in Ethiopia, they still constructing after a long period of time. We've seen dams in Ghana. That has been almost completed. Almost completed. We've seen other projects, be it like the Lekki Deep Sea Port here in Nigeria, that is completed and functioning, and also going to get bigger for access and for trade. We've seen several other projects across Africa. Now, this is not just proposed. The first tranche of funds has been released, and project and work have started. Contractor has gone on site. Now we're looking at a coastal road spanning 700 kilometers. So let us start right from the beginning. What do you expect?
Well, I must first and foremost join my voices with even the most vociferous critic of the current president to say thank you for not just conceiving the idea, but actually hitting the ground running.
Which of the grounds? The Lagos Calabar ground?
Oh my God.
Okay.
You see, we've had series of administration. There were times in this country that you see FEC after FEC approving projects. You go there every Wednesday they have FEC meeting and they say today FEC has approved this project. Next week, FEC has approved this project.
Can you hold on, please? For those that might not understand, FEC means Federal Executive
Council. Yeah.
For those in Nigeria.
So they approve project, and up to now we have not seen them. But this is quite very, very profound that the Federal Executive Council meant just early this year, agreed that that road should be done, and as we are speaking here, that project has started.
So what,
and that
what,
for me,
what do you expect?
It's quite heartwarming. Even the rate at which the work is going is for me heartwarming. Because some of the videos we have seen, that 41 kilometer, 41.7 stretch of that road is already awarded, and the contractor are on site and they are working day and night to ensure that they meet target, is for me just mind-blowing. And this is one of those signature projects we're talking about. And don't also forget that same FEC has approved at the beginning of the year and said, oh, even when the previous administration has done the resurfacing of the Third Mainland Bridge. And we see that it said, FEC approved Third Mainland Bridge. Now that project is almost being completed. So for me, the expectation is that this project will be on time, and the government must also find a way to ensure that it's going to last long.
Is it the project lasting long, or the execution lasting long, or the completed project lasting long?
The completed project lasting long.
Now, before we get there, let's go back to what came out from the executive meeting before this contract was awarded. Now, this is, from all indication, from all sides, this is a mega project.
It is.
Now, we'll
700 kilometers.
We'll talk about several things, not just 700 kilometers along the coastline, spanning, for those that are not aware. Now, Nigeria is West Africa, the most populous country in West Africa. So you can always go to Google Map. It's very easy. Now, if you take from Lagos all the way to Calabar, which happens to be Cross River State, there are 6 other states along that corridor. We'll be breaking this down gradually. And from the analysis and what's been given, they've given 36 months to complete the first phase.
Yes, yeah.
Now let's ask some serious questions. Seeing what has happened in Nigeria, this particular country, over the years, do you see this project, first phase of this project, being completed as said? 3 years is 36 months. 3 years. That means if the present administration is going to be for their first term, before they leave their first term, this first phase is completed. Do you see it happening?
Yeah, I can see that happening, and we're taking a clue from all the citizens of what government has promised that they're going to do, and they are delivering on time. And everybody is giving, you see, the most important part of every project is the funding. And it's also good to know that high-tech is also part of this funding, and they are going to bring in their resources to ensure that this is completed. And of course, you know, they're also interested in the second phase, so they will want this completed on or before 36 months. And that's just a conservative estimate. I am dead sure that by the 36 months of this administration, the first phase will be completed.
You are, well, when we use some words, I prefer being, you are not part of government. So we are not sitting you down here as part of government. We are not looking at, okay, this is their antecedent. This is what we expect, and this is what we're going to see. Now let's go straight to the cost that was spoken of on this. 1.06 trillion. And the government has gone ahead to approve and disburse some. High-tech, which is the company that is working, has been mobilized, and they are on site as we speak. Now let's look at the next phase. They are using concrete technology. Is that better than the black tar bitumen we are used to?
Well, I think Engineer Umahi, His Excellency, former governor of Ebonyi State, since he came into office, had emphasized the fact that we need to look at what we are doing and see how sustainable what we are doing can be. We have seen bitumen road in Nigeria and see the durability, although people are likely to question really whether it is the quality of job done on this road that's actually the problem. Take, for example, it's not up to 2 years that the Third Mainland Bridge was resurfaced. Now we are doing it again because it's bitumen. So his argument is that cement or concrete is cheaper than bitumen. And in terms of deterioration, you also will see that bitumen, of course, spoil quickly with rain and the rest of it. But with concrete, it's going to be a lot more durable and longer in terms of its durability. And that will be a plus for government, because if you do this road in the next 10 years, you won't be thinking that road anymore. And that is what the Minister of Works, himself being an engineer, is able to say to us, that look, it's cheaper with concrete, and of course in terms of quality, it will also be better than bitumen, although that is subject of argument, because we're also seeing that the road that His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu did in 2000, the Oregun-Ojota Road, up to today as we speak, there's not a single pothole on that road, and it was bitumen.
Which means quality of work.
Quality of work.
Okay. Now, this particular argument on bitumen or concrete, I will please beseech you to go ahead and continue that conversation. Come on our social media pages and let us know what you find out. Will you go for bitumen? Will you go for concrete? Let's continue that conversation there. But before we get back to you, sir, let's now go back to this particular issue. Now, this road is spanning 700 kilometers. There will definitely be some virgin ground they will break. There will definitely be some forest they will go into. There will definitely be some areas where the environment will be impacted. What are we looking at to impact less on the environment, the wildlife, the aquaculture, through this 700 kilometers of way?
Well, I think, yes, why that is also one issue that we are going to look at. And I think, of course, this is passing through the coastal region. And I don't think there's so much that we are going to lose in terms of vegetation around that area as we travel around that belt. Yes, of course, you will have some, but then, of course, it is the economy that is bringing to this space for me, which is the real fundamental thing that we need to talk about. Now, there is so much we can calculate in terms of our brain looking at what this role will serve. Take, for example, traveling, for example, from here to, for example, on the already existing route, about 150-kilometer span of road. Now, from Lekki here, where this is taking off from Amadu Bello Way, down to Ondo in Araromi, is going to take like 50 kilometers. So you imagine that somebody who is traveling from Lagos to Orel and see the costs that will be reduced in terms of time, in terms of manpower, in terms of even fiscal cash that is involved in this travel. This, for me, is what we should be looking at. And we also see the movements of goods between this coastal area and Lagos State, which, of course, is the economic nerve center of the country. Then, of course, also will impact hugely on the GDP. And, of course, like somebody has estimated, that if this first phase of the road is completed, Lagos GDP is going to grow by 50%.
If this first road is completed.
First phase of this is completed.
Okay. Now, this brings me, I'm just thinking aloud. Now, if we are looking at this particular coastal road from Lagos all the way to Calabar, which means from this span, if the road is on my left, on the right is a water body. Is it possible we also start looking at water transportation from Lagos to Calabar?
Oh, yes, why not? If the road is possible.
If we can do the road.
If we can do the road, of course
then
we can do the water.
We can also do that.
The water. So it's just to make the water safe, make the road safe. And the beauty is the fact that with that road in place, and given the security infrastructure that government is also, because if you remember in the contract, it's not just the road. There are street lights on the road, and there are also CCTV that's going to be on that road. And that, again, we have to really aid security on that stretch of road. And that also help us monitor what is happening in the coastal waters. And road transportation via water will become another alternative. And that, for me, is also something that we must also be envisaging with time.
Another thing I want you to talk about is, now, let's take, for example, for those of you that stay in Lagos or some other cities, I know that is also what happens in your cities. Once there is a clean road, access road within your neighborhood, or they fix the road within your neighborhood, your landlord, if you are still living in a rented apartment, your landlord will increase your rent. That's, I just said your mind, right? Now, let's talk about these particular communities where this road is going to go through. Automatically, when they were sleeping, by the time they wake up, their community is completely open.
Oh, yeah.
Is it positive? Is it negative?
Oh, massively positive. You see, because tourism grew along coastal line. Now, it is now left for states who will capitalize on this massive project to really begin to develop basic infrastructure around their own stretch of the land to grow tourism. That's exactly what it is. So there's going to be massive investment, even from the state, who will benefit. And I think the Cross River State government has been so excited over this project, Cross River and Akwa Ibom, because they are potential tourist attraction. And one of the issues that, of course, we say is the journey by road, which is majorly a problem. Now, with this coastal road built into Cross River, of course, you also see the GDP of Cross River going very high, and Akwa Ibom too, because this area along that stretch are going to take advantage, because they're actually already investing in those potential already. So for me, it's going to open up a new lot of new city within those corridors.
No matter how small
city.
No
matter how small those cities are.
Small cities all
along that corridor.
700 kilometers of tourist attraction. 700 kilometers of accommodation.
Oh, yes.
Because every single village will now turn to.
Oh, yeah. And you can imagine the number and quantum of people who will be working on this project.
That was where I was going to next. I was looking
and this is going to take a whole lot of young people off the labor market. In the next 36 months, as this first phase is going, a lot of people are already involved in this project. And not just the direct job, also look at the indirect job that's going to follow. And you see, because where these people are working, a lot of people are opening new restaurants, new kitchens that is going to service these people. People are going to be selling things along those corridors. And all this is new economy that is evolving with this construction.
Okay. There was this advert that Dangote, I'm not adding your group. Now, there's this advert Dangote did some time ago when they were talking about the Obajana road constructed with this same technology, the concrete technology. And the project manager was beating his chest that everything, over 90% of the local material was supplied by the locals across that particular stretch of where they were building the road. Do we see the same kind of thing happening?
Yeah, that's a different ball game. But I think what the Minister of Works had done by using concrete is to say that most of the material that's going to get into this road are sourced locally. They
won't fetch sand from Lagos to Delta.
No.
They won't fetch sand from Delta to Cross River.
Not at all.
The sand has to come from that place.
From that place. And of course, the cement factories also had to benefit from those sellers of cement also benefit along that corridor.
So this is more like on employment side, on material side.
Oh, yeah, it's a win-win on every side. And you just imagine. I remember when, of course, the issue of the Dangote refinery came up. And one of the very major issues that a lot of people talked about that, oh, wow, but the road and access to that refinery was a big problem. And now, with this stretch of road, that problem is taking off. And it's just natural. So that the easy movement from that business along that deep seaport, straight to the east, straight to even going to the north is going to be shorter. Because once you get to Araromi in Ondo State, to Kogi State, down the north, become a very short distance. So this is, for me, hugely positive for the economy of Nigeria and the subnationals that are involved in this project.
Okay. We are going on a very short break. Our time is already well spent. When we get back, we will continue on this particular discourse and tell ourselves, for this mega project that is coming up in Lagos to Calabar, Nigeria to be precise, how can we all be part of it to make sure it succeeds? Then we'll now start asking for replication. Don't go anywhere. SOUQ Pulse will be right back.
Broad Street. Broad Street, situated in Lagos Island, is steeped in Nigerian history. Once the biggest financial hub of the country, it housed the headquarters of major banks, linked the CBN, the stock exchange, and the loads of lender companies. Broad Street is a historically significant street. It has played a central role in the development of Lagos and history. An important commercial and administrative center for the British colonial authorities. It was also a home to some of the city's earliest modern buildings. Broad Street was a residential area in the pre-colonial era. With the British came the Methodist Boys High School in 1878 and the Broad Street Prison in 1882, renamed Freedom Park. The General Hospital, which was a British military hospital, was built in 1893, being the first general hospital in Nigeria. The old British Secretariat building, which is now the Federal Ministry of Justice, was built in 1906. Broad Street has seen a full turn into modern commercial office blocks, complexes, skyscrapers, and markets from the Outer Marina through Akpombo, early into the Adeliji-Adele Road. Broad Street is one of the busiest streets in Nigeria on weekdays, where commercial activities take place day and night. From modern buildings to ancient structures, this street gives one a raw dose of life in Lagos. Broad Street is often referred to as Lagos Financial District. It boasts a mix of architectural styles, reflecting its long history, colonial-era buildings, Victorian and Edwardian architectural features, alongside more modern skyscrapers and structures. Broad Street remains a vital, vibrant part of the Nigerian economy. Broad Street. SOUQ Enlightenment.
Hello and welcome back to SOUQ Pulse. We are still looking at mega projects, those completed, but now we are looking at proposed one. Not just proposed, they've been commissioned and they've mobilized to site. And we're looking at the coastal road between Lagos and Calabar. That's 700 kilometers spanning 8 states. If you've been with us all those while, you will know that we've had a very good, robust discourse. I want you to go back later on and click our social medias and get to watch it again. Now let's talk about the Lekki Deep Sea Port. That is a $1 billion, multi-billion dollar project.
Yeah.
That is, that alone can power goods movement within West Africa, down to East Africa, down to landlocked countries in this side of our Africa. Now, we are having this development, this road project going directly past it. To what extent is it going to be beneficial to not just the deep sea port, but the free trade zone and other industries within that same vicinity?
You see, and I think the president again is very strategic because he's the one who has envisioned all these things. And I think he understands what actually he wanted. And that opportunity has come and is actually taking advantage of it, because one of the big weaknesses of the really deep sea port and the free trade zone area in that Lekki area was access road. I remember when the fertilizer complex was being commissioned, we were trying to access it. It was very difficult because where you have to trek, because the truck, you need a heelers or four-wheel driver to be able to get through the sand to get to where that place is. It was a big challenge. Now, what you have seen happen with this road happening, you are seeing the connect from the deep sea port to the refinery, from refinery outside. And all this creates huge economy around that space. So we're not having issue with transportation or movement of containers out of the deep sea port, whether they are coming into the fertilizer plant or coming into the refinery, or they are even going outside of Lagos. You don't have a problem because the whole place has been opened up.
And that was where you were talking about the 50% extra.
Yes, revenue that will add to Lagos State GDP.
Just Lagos State?
Just Lagos State.
So even if every other state across that divide could get 20%, it's still very...
Oh yes, massive. More than 20%. You see, we're just talking about the first phase, because that's in the Lagos corridor. Now, once you see, and that's what I'm saying, that state government should begin to think creatively on how to leverage this project. I see, for example, in Edo State, in Delta State, Warri, Saple, in Delta State. Now, I see that move through that corridor. So, better Edo, Ondo should be positioning themselves to take huge advantage.
You left Ogun out.
Ogun is there also, yeah. So, they should be programming themselves to take huge advantage of these new towns and city that is going to emerge, because it's going to be a huge economy. And I'm really expecting to see states that are visionary
start building now.
Now begin, even if not building, start begin to lay critical infrastructure for new cities. Road, electricity, and water, all these things have to be carved out before landlords and land speculators start to sell the land and abuse planning in those areas. So I want to see state proactively taking advantage, understanding where this road is passing, and start to build new cities. And then that takes pressures away from the current cities, and then you will see towns opening up. And as these towns are opening up, employment also will be created by those states. The GDP of those states will also be spiraling, and a whole lot of things can happen. So you see hotels along that area. When somebody is traveling and he gets to a certain place and feels tired, he can recline, sleep over, and then continue his journey for the following day. So all these are possibilities, and this is what states should take advantage of as this project runs.
Okay, now we over the weekend, the Lagos State government came forth and said, okay, for buildings on the parts of this construction, for buildings that fell within the road part, this construction, they are going to go down. They didn't mince words about it. They were very definitive about it. And they said, okay, good. If you have papers to say that this is yours, come forth, and we'll look for how to resolve it. Are we seeing this go all the way?
Yeah, but you see, that is the natural consequence for road construction. As it's going to go, it's not just even Lagos. As this thing passes, it's going to pass through some people's farm, some annual crops, some perennial crops will be involved. And what government does is to see and establish who owns those farms, and those land and settlements are done along that corridor. But you'll be unlucky if you build and there is no certification from the state in terms of certificate of occupancy for a land, and then you just build and you don't have title to the land, then of course you cannot be settled.
Or you'll be the one to pay government to demolish the house?
No, you may not pay. Of course, the bulldozer just running through, and then of course you don't have anything to claim from government.
Okay, now how can we as a people, our Nigerians, if you are Nigerian, how can Nigerians start monitoring this project? Because we need to hold everybody accountable and make sure it's done.
I just wanted to make a point, because we're talking about settlement, so that people also be educated.
Okay.
Now, for road plans that are along road corridors, by law, you're supposed to give 36 meters as setback from the road, so that in case there are road expansion, it does not catch up with you.
Okay.
Now, if your building beats that law of the 36 meter setback from the road, sorry, government will settle you. Because that's illegal. It's good that people know. And this is also very important, that when people are buying land, they must take into cognizance that if you're building along a road that's either federal or state, you must take cognizance of the setback, because that is naturally given by law, so that if there's a need for expansion for such road, government will not need to pay claims and settlement. But if you are building on that corridor, and of course you know that you have violated the law of the setback, then of course you have yourself to blame.
This is like a warning before the warning. So if you've fallen short for this, sorry. But going forward, if you are picking up a land or trying to get into construction, and you know there is a road construction, whether it is now or planned in future, or it has not even materialized, but there is a future construction of road. Please be careful. So now let's go back. How can Nigerians, both those in Nigeria or those in diaspora, how can they start monitoring and make sure that this particular project not just see the light of the day, is followed up and gets done?
You know, one of the beauty of social media is what we are seeing. And I actually see some video while I was in Rwanda about 2 days ago, and people were showing and they were publishing on the social media, look, this is not a scam. This road is going. And you can actually see men walking. And this also opened up the conversation among civil society organizations, who also should be putting an eye to see what is happening. If this is counterpart funding, government has made pledge and they have given some money to the contractor, we're also expecting that the construction company, who is also obliged to put some money on this project, should also hurry up to put money on that project. And one of the things, for example, I don't know if it's in the concept of the road design, is the fact that we don't need a physical toll on this road. We actually would need government to toll this road electronically.
Okay,
for maintenance and for further expansion.
And for accountability, not just for accountability, because if it's an electronic camera that is picking you, it picks you, it doesn't know who your face is or who your father's friend is. You just pay.
You pay, and that's taken from your wallet. So anybody who is using that corridor should understand that they will have a little token to give, and that is for building and maintaining that road and building other roads that will connect Nigeria together. And then, of course, then we'll be really be ready for business. Because as it is now, logistics is a critical issue in Nigeria. And because we have logistic issues, the kind of foreign direct investment that we are envisaging is not flowing in. But by the time we are having this kind of mega projects all across the place and the roads are connected, a lot of people will want to come into Nigeria to do business.
Okay. We on this side of the divide, we are glad when we see projects like this. But I think we'll be happier when we see projects like this completed. Now, we've seen the Lekki Deep Sea Port. We've talked about it. We've seen the Aba electricity. We've also talked about it. Now, we are seeing this. Looking forward that we'll see more, because we can't just stop where we are. We ask for more, because if we say Africa must get productive, then just like you keep saying, enabling environment, I keep asking, what are those enabling environments? Now, for every other person out there, let's break this down before we come back to you. Now, there's also a rail track in the middle of this construction. 5 lanes, a rail track. Now, for goods majorly to move, we need that train services. We need it to work. At what point in time is that going to be part of this project?
It's simultaneous. It's running concurrently. That's the beauty about the project. Both the rail track and the 10 lane are running concurrently. That's the beauty about the project. And that commitment that, of course, Federal Executive Council has shown toward this project is also is a legacy project that government want to see completed and done in record time. And of course, we already know, government also had been making some cool cash from the subsidy remover. And that can be seen in the allocation that have been coming to SOUQ. And this, of course, if we really have to see this kind of a project open up, and I think we have more reason to allow more subsidy removal so that government can get real more money to open this space, and then we can actually see progress happen in Nigeria. You see, there's no other way really that you can sustain employment apart from construction, because it's one of the largest employers in the world. There's no state you go to in the world where you don't see construction that is consistently ongoing. No matter how developed Dubai is, they still construct roads on a daily basis. Now you are seeing people having level 1, level 2, level 3, level 5. up, because that is what keeps some people in employment. You see that happen in the real estate. They're constantly building new cities. And this is what the UAE had done over time. You have new city here, you have new city here, you have new city here. They want to do one festival, they take it to one bush, then build a new city. And then the civilization is expanding and spreading. Then overcrowding you take away. Because if you have this opportunity and access, there are a whole lot of people who are in Lagos doing nothing. As I was driving this morning, my son was asking me a question and said, look, how do we deal with these issues of open defecation? Even along this third mainland that government just did, and a lot of people in between the road, you see people are messing it up. And I said, these are human beings that we should have cleared off the system and take to the village so that they can do some better work. But government leave them and they are creating nuisance in the middle of the city.
Apologies, please. See, that last bit of this show, just cancel it. You didn't get to hear. You didn't get to hear that, to be specific. Now, for those that don't know, we are trying to make sure that everyone gets productive. So, if this road is going to make Ekanem not to leave Calabar and come to Lagos, beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to stop Toju and tell him to remain in Ore. He doesn't need to move down to Lagos. Beautiful. Now,
yeah, Tokpe can even leave Lagos and go back to Ore.
Okay, you want Tokpe to leave Lagos?
Oh,
and go
yes.
back to Ore. Then who will take Tokpe's job in Lagos? Now, this is where we are getting to. Everyone needs to be productive. Like we said, stand up and get counted. This is, I didn't want to ask this, but I think I should. At this point in time, like sometime, just not, I would say a few days ago, we saw the SOUQ distribution to states. Across board, we saw the SOUQ distribution to states. We've seen what government is also planning with their own money. That's the center planning with their own money. At what point in time should we now start asking state governors? I'm talking for those in Nigeria. State governors, let us start seeing your own project. If the federal can pull out this, let's start seeing what the states are also doing. Because if we need to get productive, this is the time. We should start seeing what states are doing. You know,
it is quite unfortunate that our federation is so faulty that there's a narrative we have around as if everything ends in the hands of federal government. And I also believe, like I've said to some federal government agents, that look, the problem is that government also is not communicating enough. You know, there was this last allocation that came, and some journalists took up a particular state government and said, oh, now you have more money. And the governor retorted and said, what more money? That what came to him is about 8 billion. And out of the 8 billion, he's spending 7.4 billion for overhead and salaries. That what is left with is about 600 million. And I asked myself, all those years you were receiving 2 billion, 1 billion, was it not paying the staff? What happened between January and February? You suddenly had more staff and you are going to pay. This is a problem of accountability for states. Because all that governor is trying to do is to shield himself with his people and say, oh, I have more money now, I'm using it to pay salary, I really don't have any money left. And he has forgotten that what he got in January, he didn't tell us that it was not enough to pay salary, and it was not up to 7 billion. So this is a problem, and I think that many people really need to hold their state governors accountable and stop looking at Abuja or what Abuja is not doing or doing well. Because the real problem is because if the subnational are functional, the problem we are talking about in Nigeria today, we will not be talking about it. Subnationals have enough money to build a Dubai, to build a Singapore. But over the years, we have seen them fritter away this money and lay all the blame on the federal government that is because the federation is faulty, that's why they are not making progress. And I think this narrative needs to stop, and I think civil society should focus more on state governors and ensure that there is judicious use of resources within the state and the local government. Now, if these two tiers of government are functioning, we will see more progress in the state and the country. And of course, this movement of people or migration from urban to rural, we can really address it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm still trying to find a bigger word to use. beyond thank you. But hey, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Chuks, for hosting me here.
It's SOUQ Pulse, and we had a good show today. I must tell you. Now, the issue is this: if the federal government can pull out this mega project and go ahead and get it done, we are all monitoring, you, me. Now, we also need to call out our state governors. Let's see the projects coming from this state. Every one of them, no exception. If Africa needs to get productive, then we should hold everybody responsible, from the president to the governors to the local government chairman. Because the lower they come, the nearer they are to you and me. It's SOUQ Pulse. We'll keep saying you this. Never keep quiet. Keep talking. We'll do this again tomorrow. Thank you for being there. My name is Chuks, John Rogers Chuks. Have a beautiful evening.